Welcome to Off Guard. I'm your host, Austin Rivers, along with my co-host, Pausha Hagigi. We are back, fresh of the week. After a drama-filled NBA week last week, hoping for... Do we hope for calmer times, or do we like the drama now at this point? Now that we're on the other side, we get to enjoy it.
For the show, it makes it easy, right, to come up with topics. But I feel like with the Giannis thing, it was a lot of drama. People were putting him in the trade machine. We made some fake trades, everything like that. Him being hurt just sidelines everything. You know what I mean? And everyone's...
But at least it's a strain.
Yeah. But everyone kind of puts that to the side now. No one's really talking about that, at least for a little bit. And the Chris Paul stuff, I mean, I just don't know where you go with it. I mean, what's next? Obviously, he's staying ready.
You know, it's funny to kind of wrap a bow on that, because it seemed like last week when we talked about it, we hit it on the head pretty square on, but I've gotten a chance to talk to multiple execs, coaches, even former players since then, and everyone pretty much is on the same page of what we were on, is 50-50 on it. And but if we had to lean towards a side, we would be leaning towards Chris's side. And that's due to the fact that the biggest point I think I'm glad I hit on last week that most people resonated with was people were saying, Austin, when you said players all the time have to deal with circumstances that they don't like being in, and you just got to deal with it and come to work and do your thing, the fact that the Clippers couldn't have just sucked it up and just dealt with them. You know what you signed up for when you took Chris on. Ty Lue's been around the NBA for 30-something years, okay? Lawrence Frank's been around the NBA for 30 years, okay? Steve Ballmer's been an owner now for some good amount of time. You guys know and you've worked with him before, okay? You know exactly who Chris is. Your top players know who Chris is from competing against him, or James playing with him in Houston. Y'all knew who he was when you brought him in. So if you guys expected him to be anything, even if it's his last year and it's a farewell tour and it's his, last year playing basketball, he doesn't play a lot. So you just thought he would kind of just coast and be in the background and just help out when needed. That's not who Chris is. Chris is an ultra competitor. There's a reason why Chris is who he is. Now, it comes at the expense of sometimes people's feelings, and he can be a burden just because how demanding he is, how opinionated he is. He's a point god, whatever you want to call him, right? That same competitive spirit's what's made Chris who he is. You got to take the good with the bad with it. Okay, your team's 5-30. Not really, but they're terrible. This has nothing to do with why you guys are winning or losing. Don't make it out to like he's a scapegoat and just hold it down. Just suck it up and deal with him. You only got 1 year deal. It's his farewell tour. It's his last year in the NBA, and he's the greatest player in your franchise. If you can't do it for Chris, what it shows and tells other people, other free agents, other people out there who would consider the Clippers, oh, wow, you could be the greatest player in their franchise, and they still will.
Well, Austin, you're a player. Do players think about that and take it into consideration? Like when they
that just it matters. The way the Clippers looked last week, they took a massive L. They took more of a big L than they have any other games this year. They've taken a lot of L's on the court, as we know. This was the biggest L this year, was them waiving Chris Paul. From a franchise standpoint, you look beyond petty, and it looks like you don't reward greatness. Even if that greatness is butting heads with Ty Lue, it's a 1 year deal, and he's on his farewell tour. It's his 20th year in the NBA. He's an NBA Hall of Famer and legend, and he's the greatest player in the franchise history. Just shut up and deal with him. He don't play 35 minutes. This isn't a Russell Westbrook Sacramento Kings situation where he's out there playing hard every night. He still wants to play at a high level, be one of the main guys where you got to kind of deal with Russ. That's not what this is. So it just seems like you couldn't have done it for Chris. Listen, if it was me, a guy coming back to play for the Clippers, even me, I'm a guy that people value in Clippers history. They could have cut me. It could happen. People wouldn't have been up in arms. People would have made some jokes about it, but that would have been it. Cutting, it'd be like Russell Westbrook going back to OKC and them cutting him. You just can't do it. Then don't bring him back. If you're gonna bring him back, if you're gonna sell this whole farewell tour and do a whole tribute for him, Ty Lue's got to suck it up, as well as anybody else in the franchise who has problems with him, Lawrence Frank, and you got to hold it down, because other free agents look at these places now, the way this market is, these guys are getting paid so much. These places are going to places and they're viewing it as their future home. When you talk about Giannis right now, who's going to be on the market soon, or Trae Young, or all these guys, right, whose names are floating around, they're looking for their next home, not just for their kids and their wives or their family and respective others to live, but what franchise can they go to? Can you trust them? Can you be? Will they accept you? Will they promote you? Will they have love for you? If things don't go well in the court, will they still have your back? This is what these top guys go through. So when you look at the Clippers franchise, a history that's not filled with anything, no banners, no nothing. There's a history of them doing wrong by whether it's their coach, my pops, Blake, the list goes on. You, then you do this to Chris. People just look at it like, gosh, damn, Clippers don't give a shit who you are. Like that shit, they do cold. They serve their dinners cold over there. It don't look good. And then you got the opposite of the appeal with people go to LA, they want to go play for the Lakers.
Yeah, you're already battling the most famous franchise
Yeah,
in the same
people
town. You're
already
already
don't
battling
want to
them.
go to your team. Exactly.
Yeah.
They already don't want to go to your team. When people talk about playing in LA, they talk about playing for the purple and gold. Okay, let's keep it 100. So the Clippers were finding their mojo when they had Lob City and Chris and the teams that we had. We were the cool team for once. And then we covered up the banners. Steve Ballmer announces the new arena. Like, bro, we were getting our own thing. And it just has not progressed. No offense. And I'm not saying this is a Ty Lue thing, because I'm not tying this to Ty Lue. But since Ty Lue has got there, since my father has left and Ty Lue has gone, the Clippers have either stayed put or gone down. All right. We were building, 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 and then now it's just going towards a plateau. Now, people would probably argue and say that the PG thing is what sealed the fate. Shea and all these guys that they gave away is that obviously helps, but
You
from a
had to do it.
franchise,
We already visited that trade. You had to do it. You were getting
correct,
Kawhi.
and that's why you can't
Yeah.
give a hard time. Can't give them a hard time for making that move because at that time, Kawhi Leonard was arguably the best player in the league, and Paul George was another face of the league, and he wanted to play with Paul George, and there's a possibility there. There's not a person on the planet that wouldn't have made that move at that time, especially not knowing what Shea was going to become. So that's garbage. Now, it's turned out to be one of the worst trades in NBA history and set up this foundation for what the Thunder have going on right now. But no one saw that unless you had a crystal ball. But from a franchise point, the way they treat their players, that shit matters, man. And them
Yeah.
cutting Chris, it was a massive L. I think it was a massive L, and I'm going to leave it at that.
You made a good point about the Clippers. You guys with the Lob City and everything, that really made the Clippers cool. My entire lifetime, they were kind of looked at as like a cursed franchise. Now, they had their Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson moments with the head tap, but they weren't winning games back then. You know what I mean? With Lamar Odom. And then had a really good
Let
year
me
with
ask you
Sam
something.
Cassell and Elton Brand. What's up?
Let me ask you something. Do you think the Blazers wanted to sign Damian Lillard to like a 2 years, $40 million? You think that did anything for their team?
But just,
He's
like
coming off.
our producer just said, like Kobe Bryant after the Achilles, the Lakers took care of him. They still made contracts. They treated their stars right. So like that's what you're
Yes, yes,
alluding to.
yeah, exactly. The Lakers signed Kobe after an Achilles tear at the end of his career. He wasn't going to bring them any wins. He wasn't going to do anything for that team. No different than the Blazers signing Damian Lillard on the back end of his career after an Achilles injury. They signed him to 2 years, 40, whatever. They actually paid him good money too for relatively not what he's used to, but still very good money in hindsight. Why? Because of what he's done for the franchise, and it makes the organization look good. They know they're not winning it all anyway. They're not winning it all anyway. It's an opportunity to do right by a guy who's brought in hundreds of millions to your franchise, who's taken them to your playoffs and had some of the best playoff moments we have in our history in Portland end and begin with this guy. Or they don't begin. They had Drexler and all those guys. But as of recently, it's been this guy in
Right.
modern day. And that's why you do that deal, because it shows you're a Class A organization. The Lakers, what they do with Kobe, you sign them to that damn contract. It didn't do anything for them, but it's what they did right by a guy who's brought them everything. So for a guy like Chris Paul, who was a part of the most winningest time in franchise history, the greatest point guard the franchise has ever seen, and arguably the greatest player the franchise has ever seen, you can't do right by Chris. Now, his stints there weren't as long as Kobe and the Lakers and Dame in Portland. I get that. All right. He wasn't drafted there. He wasn't the baby. I get that. But he went from New Orleans to LA and was there for a significant amount of time. And you could argue the peak of his prime was there. And that's where I'm just like, yo, for a franchise who doesn't have a lot to celebrate, you cutting the guy that's the most celebrated within the franchise because him and the coach aren't talking, or he's saying stuff with it. Come on, guys, just hold it down for a year just because he deserves it. And then you couldn't have brought him back last year. No one would have known there was any drama anyways because it was a farewell tour, and you could have moved on. Your team's 5-16 anyways. Who gives a shit? So that's where I'm 50-50 because I know who Chris is, but I also see the side. But after you start putting it, it ends up being like 70-30. I'm on Chris's side.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I
anyways,
want to talk to you about something. Yesterday, I watched the Knicks Magic play. Franz landed awkwardly on
of
a
course
lob
he did.
attempt, and I saw my life flash before my eyes as a Magic fan. Like just seeing this, we're waiting for the news still. We're hoping for the best. Hopefully, it's not a season ender. But just when I watched that, I'm like, man. And I thought about like Tyrese Halliburton in the finals last year, where if you're the Pacers and you're having this amazing run, one of the best postseason runs of all time, just like that, now you're taking a year off and you're going to be in the lottery this year. It's just crazy how injuries, just like in one game, one step, one bad play, everything could just like unfold in front of you. And then on the flip side of that, if you're healthy and you can go on runs like the Warriors with their dynasty or different teams, OKC right now, for example, you're saying they could win the next 5 championships. It's just crazy how it all could end just like that. Like the Colts quarterback, Daniel Jones, yesterday tore his Achilles. The season's over. Like that's just, it's so sad how it could all end in 1 second. So it kind of makes you, if you're healthy and you're winning, you should appreciate it because you don't know how long it's going to last. You agree with that?
For sure. I mean, yeah, health's obviously the biggest denominator in sports. The greatest skill ever is availability. Um, and the NBA more specifically, just due to the fact that you don't have so many pieces like football. Football wide receiver can go down, and you got 50 players on it's like 100 players on a roster. You could hopefully figure out something. NBA, if your star player goes down, like your season just goes from promising to just nothing.
Right.
For a Magic team that's already dealing with Paulo just now getting back in the fold. Now you have Franz go down.
Same thing happened last year where they couldn't play. They
Yeah, it's
just
just,
took turns being injured. Yeah.
flippity flippity floppity bippity boppity. Um, it's just one of those things where you're just like, man, you just want them to have some time. Listen, you know, the riddle with the Magic, people don't have the answer. All right. Are they better without Paulo? Are they better with Paulo? I went on a whole rant about how ludicrous that is. Okay, fine. Now there's trade scenarios. Now that Giannis is available, people are like, "Well, let's do that." It's all this noise is happening. Franz and Paulo seem to never be playing together at the same time for long stints. They give me like Kawhi, Paul George energy, where like one's down, the other one's back, then one's down, then the other one's back, then the
Also,
one's
when
down.
your dad was the coach of the Magic, we got Grant Hill and T Mac thinking this was going to be like Pippen and Jordan, and Grant Hill was injured pretty much the entire time.
Yeah, it's
It's very
unfortunate.
unlucky. Yeah.
And you
Uh,
know what? I mean, other teams have dealt with it though, and held out, and it's been rewarding. To some degree, they haven't won, but you look at like Cleveland for the longest time. It's like Garland was down, they'd play better, and then Donovan Mitchell would go down, and they'd play better. When they're both on the same court, it'd be a little stagnant, and then they kind of figured it out last year. So there's a beauty in patience, as we've seen with teams letting guys develop, letting guys mesh, but also waiting for timing to be right. So much about the NBA, so much about sports is timing. It's about when a guy hits his peak, when a team, is rolling or not. There's NCAA champions of college teams that were having poor seasons, but are able to fight in tooth and crawl and nail, whatever the saying is, just to get into the tournament, and then they get hot at the right time and they win. Michigan State's had average Michigan State seasons, and then have gone to the Final Four because they just get hot at the right time. So it's like so much about outcome is timing, and that's health wise as well. So Cleveland for years was like this up and down with Spider and Garland, just always hurt on opposite timing, and then when they played together, it was never right. Last year, you saw it could be right, and it comes together. So I'm hoping for Orlando's sake, just for a history of their star players always kind of being hurt, not being together at the right time. Paulo and Franz can come together and kind of down all those rumors that they can't coexist or play together, at a high level. And again, this is what happens in sports. Until you see it, the media will doubt it, and the people will come in and say things. They said the same thing with Rudy Gobert and Karl Towns a couple years ago. That you can't play with two centers. You can't win like this. They're worse off. They end up going to the conference finals. You didn't hear a peep about it anymore. So it's like
Tatum and Brown. That's our biggest one we always use.
Tatum and Jalen Brown are the biggest.
People
That's
wanted
probably
to
the
trade
greatest.
them all the time. Also, for years, people were like, you gotta get rid of one of them. You gotta get rid of one of them, and they go
Probably
and
the
win the
greatest
title.
example. Probably the best example. Probably the best
Yeah.
example that you said. So it never works until it works, and then people now think they work. Yeah, so it's like I don't get caught up in that. Also, there was a beauty in Paulo going down. The team found out strengths that they didn't know they had. Certain players got certain roles that they haven't had yet, certain freedoms and availability just due to so much gravity being off the court with Paulo. Guys like Anthony Black, Baines found their rhythm. So now when Paulo gets
What's going on with Desmond Bane, man? I know he's a nice guy. Everyone says he's like the sweetest dude, like very good family guy. He is just throwing the ball. He's just
Do you
pelting.
know what's so funny about that play? Do you know what's the funniest part about that play? What's the funniest part about that play?
I don't know
The
there's a
funniest
lot of
part
layers to it.
about
He was
that
not calling out of
is
bounds. He was
that's the
fully in bounds.
funniest part. He had no reason to throw the ball at him. That's the funniest part about this is if he was like running out of bounds and jumped in the air and he was out, so he had to pin it on the guy so he could get the ball. He grabbed it, was fully in bounds, saw OG on the ground, and said, "You know what? I'm gonna throw this as hard as I can at you." Not like threw it at him. It would have been funny even if he sometimes you'll see a guy throw it at the guy so he can catch it and just be like an asshole. He didn't do that. He took it a step above that. He launched it at OG, fully in bounds, and everybody's just like, "What the was that?"
But like, okay, I've seen mixed reviews where like the Magic need this toughness, and I love that, right? Like
Well,
and
that
that's how they
wasn't.
want to
That's
work
not
it
a
too.
that was a
Something else.
that's not a tough guy play. That was he might just be like, OG, you irritate me. I don't know what that was. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Listen. I've heard nothing but good things about Baines. My own interaction with Baines have been extremely solid. So yeah, sometimes guys get competitive, and when that ball goes up, they kind of just see red. I've seen him get into it with a lot of guys. I've seen him get into it with LeBron James. He don't discriminate. You know what I mean? It'd be one thing if he was being a punk on the floor picking on the little guy. Like, he threw that ball at OG. It's like a 6'8", 250-pound power, small forward, power forward. Like, Bane don't discriminate nothing. So at least give him that. It was highly unnecessary, yes, but he not doing the punk way.
Yeah, but
So
he also got a technical foul for it. I don't know if you agree with that. Like, I don't
no,
think they
no,
should
no, yeah,
the
yeah. You don't want
ball,
to, yeah, yeah.
but the tech is.
Once you start, sometimes it's like Draymond has a toughness, but then sometimes when he gets out of body, you'll see Steph's reaction. Sometimes when he becomes a distraction, you'll see stuff like, come on, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember there was that time period where he was getting a little too wild and they had to calm him down? Like, I think it was like, I don't know for sure. I'm not in that locker room, but I remember hearing like Steph or some guys had to have like a little, not intervention, but like just talking like, yo, we love your character. We love your energy. We love what you bring, your toughness. We know what you bring to the court. We just got to, it can't be to where we're shooting, the other team's shooting techs. You know what I mean? Like, we got to keep it, or you're getting suspended, and because you have so many techs now, you're suspended the next game. Like,
But if you take the fire out of a guy like that or Dennis Rodman on the Bulls, if you take that fire, you might take a part of their game out too. You got to find
so
that
what you're
middle ground.
saying, what you're saying is you got to accept them for who they are.
Yeah, but within reason. It's good. It's give and take. It's
And
push pull.
then we circle back to the Chris and Clippers thing, right? It's like, you know who he is, accept him for who he is. In year 20, you're not changing. You get what I'm saying? Whoever you're getting right now, and that's my biggest concern. Off topic, to switch topics, like people, I had a conversation the other day with someone about LaMelo. All right, because someone is like, "Hey, yo, I loved your rant about LaMelo, man. Like, obviously, I know you're a fan of his game, but just telling him you need to see him carry for once. Like, you're supposed to be the superstar. Like, yeah, your team's not great, but like the great ones just make their team look good. You know, Allen Iverson was with Eric Snow and Aaron McKee, and it didn't matter. You know, not that those guys are all solid NBA players, but you know what I'm saying. He didn't have this star.
They're no match against the
He
best.
didn't have
That's one of the best teams of all time, the Lakers. Yeah.
yeah, you went against Kobe and Shaq and Fisher and Derek, Rick Fox and like all these stud basketball names, that were saying like, and Hall of Fame, like Iverson was just good. Cade Cunningham's just good. Shai's good. You can put these guys on any team in the league. They just like I'm not saying they're going to win, but they're going to compete. You can put Luka, you can put Giannis on the worst team in the league. They're going to the playoffs, dog. So I do believe LaMelo, when you get 250 tags, and this is going to be my rant for today, no more max contracts for guys who can't carry a franchise. I'm tired of getting a deal because it's the right place and right timing. You got a bunch of guys out here making 200 plus M's in the third option. And then a year into it, people are like, that's a bad contract. No shit, it's a bad contract. You should not be making over $200 million in the NBA unless you are a franchise carrier. If you are not a guy who can be a 1A option or a guy who can essentially carry a team, you shouldn't be getting paid that contract. There are guys who make 200 plus M's, make average 14 points a game. How the
I saw someone make a good point that OKC is so dominant also because of the way the CBA is right now, where teams are handicapped by these big deals, that there aren't a lot of teams that could challenge, and a lot of teams are stuck with bad contracts. So OKC is just like, look at their schedule, man. They shouldn't lose a game for like the rest of the season. Like, they are a really good team, don't get me wrong, but it's also other teams are kind of can't make those moves, right? They're a little handicapped.
Yeah. And you look at the way they're set up with how young their core is, they don't have to pay a lot of these guys for 2-3 years, man. And then a lot of other teams can't afford all these players that they have because they're capped. And they have these up contracts. So, like, they just get to keep all these guys and just keep drafting them. And then they'll push out guys who they feel like they can, who are expendable or bring them more value. That's the crazy thing is they have so much guys, they could just trade them for more picks. They're just going to keep stacking picks to just ensure the future of this team. So it's this, anyways, we could talk about the way Presti's set up the Thunder for an hour.
I have a question. Let me ask you just one time. If you're close to the record, let's say you're at 69, 70 wins, and you can go for it, but you want to rest for the playoffs. If you're OKC, are you going for it? Are you playing your guys and getting the record?
Yeah, if I'm close, yeah, we're going to go ahead and take that. Yeah. If you can go down the record books with the all-time most wins and see, you just do it. You just do it. If you're that close.
How young you are, you're going to be fresh to the playoffs anyways, right? Like, especially how young you are.
Yeah, bro. Shai's finished the fourth like 10 times this year. They're rested. Yeah. Hell, don't play Jalen and Shai. They'll still win. They'll still get the record. They could sit out their starting lineup and still probably go get the record by that point in the season. That's how deep their team is. They have 12 good players, dog.
And you know what's helping them too? Is that this is one of the best drafts and highly anticipated drafts. So a lot of teams are going to be tanking starting like January, February. So a lot of the teams that they run into at the second half of that year, this isn't the 90s against the Bulls where they were still trying to get those wins. They're going to be like, okay, bro. Season now, Darren Peterson's coming this way. Yeah, you're not going to put a good
Yeah, people are like, we're not putting up it's an easy loss for us that we can have. We're playing the Thunder. Let's go throw out some guys out there and let them just mollywop us, and we'll just continue to just try to get you're going to lose anyway. They're like, we're not going to beat them anyway. They're trying to get this record. We're not going to win. Let's just play whoever. So they don't have to play Shai and them 40 minutes. They don't have to do it now. They haven't had to. All right, there's just two different things. Watching the Thunder play versus like watching the Lakers and like seeing 40-something-year-old LeBron James have to close games and like Luka and Reeves playing 40 minutes. They're out there working their ass off to have that record. Where like Thunder is like 23-1 and like their starters don't play fourth quarters. It's just two different things are happening right now. What they're doing right now is messy. It don't look good because it looks too good. They're just beating everyone. They won again last night by 30. They're not just like winning by 10 points. They're winning by like they are slaughtering teams.
Their second best player didn't play the first 20 games of the year.
And their best player just is like third in scoring and doesn't play the fourth quarter ever.
And then makes a poem on his Instagram about it.
How could I go back and forth with people and I don't even finish the fourth? Everybody's just like Did you see Udonis Haslem talk about him?
What did he say?
It's funny. Udonis was like, I don't usually go step in rooms where I'm not the coolest guy, which we'll dissect that. It's like you do, relax. I looked at why he said that. He's in a room with Blake Griffin. I wanted to be like, you ain't the coolest guy in that room. What are you talking about, Dub? Currently, right now, forget Shai. You work with Blake Griffin. You're not.
No one to say that statement without offending everyone in the room you're in.
No, he literally like I'm looking at it's like Taylor Rooks, bro. Mind you. It's Taylor Rooks, Blake Griffin, and Dirk Nowitzki are in the room with him. He goes, "Oh, listen, Shai. I'm always the coolest guy in the room. I gotta say, right now, bro, you are one of the coolest guys I've ever seen. You much cooler than me, man. And everybody started laughing, but in my mind, I'm like, Dirk and Blake are a lot of, and I love you, Donis. You're a Miami legend, but yeah, you're a Miami legend for other things, not like your play. A little bit of play because you won championships there, but like just because you're Mr. Miami. All respect. You had a long NBA career. You got to give flowers. Donis Haslam's got all my respect, but you ain't no damn Blake Griffin, and you definitely ain't no Dirk Nowitzki. It's like, what are you talking about? Self awareness. I thought it was funny, but it just tells you, like, yeah, people think Shai right now is like, I'm at the airport last week traveling to call games. I'm just minding my business, trying to get a bag of chips, a little snack for the plane ride. I'm just shopping. I just gaze up and like Shai's just like in leather and a leotard with his chest out on some magazine, and he's just like, I'm like, that guy is just that guy is the guy in like leather. He had one of his feet up. One of his feet, I can't even do it. His foot was like here, and he was like, I'm like, that's the guy averaging 30 right now. You can't stop him.
Wait, so I have a question. Is he actually a little underrated as far as I always thought you have to have like the cool one namers like Kobe, like MJ is MJ,
But
LeBron.
Shai's a one name guy. Who the
He's
fuck
a
is named?
one namer. Like he's a one namer. He has everything. He's dominant. MVP, the whole nine. He's got everything. Should he be even more? Is it because he's an OKC? Like, I'm trying to figure it out.
Yes,
Because
yes, that's why.
given the
Yeah.
resume, he should be like the biggest star on the planet. Maybe you know what I mean?
Given the resume, if he was American, maybe a little bit more active on social media because he's not. Everything's only for promotional use. He only gets on his Instagram and stuff if it's like for something he's doing, promoting a brand, a sneaker, a fashion. He don't just get on his live and start talking to people. You know what I'm saying? Like if he doesn't tweet like Kevin Durant. Like if he was more active on social media, born in America and played in a hot market, he'd be the biggest star in basketball by a landslide because he has everything. Fashion, he's number one. We know that. He's like walking in Tom Brown and Louis Vuitton. He's the guy. Uh, um, you know, Game MVP, champion, highest contract in NBA history. He's got the one name. He's got the swag, the aesthetic. Everyone already. But you ask anybody in any sport, like they do this all the time. You'll see these. Well, who's the most fashion guy that you would take? What's another athlete you think is the most? Every football. Shai. Like Shai's a cool guy. He is the guy. I mean, I think it's just him being, listen, when we go to the Olympics, he don't have our jersey on, bro.
So it's
You know what
more
I'm
about
saying?
not being American and not about
I
him being
think
okay.
I think that stuff affects it. I think like even Wimby, Luca, these guys are huge stars, but if you're telling me if they were one of our, do you see how we treat Ant? Ant's like a top 15 player, top 10 player in the NBA, but he's just likable and cool. We put him on, we put him everywhere. Well, you
Yeah,
know what I
but
mean?
his
Like
personality is a lot different than those other guys, though, too.
again, the Americans are usually like that, a little bit more boisterous, a little bit more. We're a little bit more forward. Social media, the way we do it versus that, it's just different, cultural wise. You know what I mean? Music, everything over here. So it's just different. You know what I mean? Like if and that's where I do think it's part of I think why Shai's great too. He's right in the middle. He gets to be all these cool things, but like he's not overdone. He's not like America's not pushing him, so he's still refreshing. If he was American, we'd already be tired of him. That's what we do. We promote, and then eventually we get irritated with their success. That's how like Americans.
I
That's
think even
what we.
before Drake had all this stuff with the Kendrick Lamar, I think you were like, this guy's too hot right now. He's too good. Something bad's going to. Eventually, we'll turn. People will turn on.
It's how it is. You could see it
He's
coming a
not
mile
even
away.
American. You know what I mean? Like, as far as being a
Drake,
vertical star.
yeah, he's just you were running things too much. Eventually, people are like, all right, let's bring you down.
Yeah.
Let's bring you down a little bit. He's right where like, but just think like with Steph. Like Steph was so big, but during those MVP years, he got so much. Like people were so 50-50. Oh, Steph, he just always family man. Oh, he thinks he's so good. Oh, he's so. You're mad at him because he's a nice guy. You just find things to get irritated because we pushed him so much. Unanimous MVP. Oh, he's a unanimous MVP. He's not even better than he shouldn't have won that first. That's what happens. People start getting. They went from remember he was an underdog. Davidson. Everyone loves Steph. Oh my God, look at this little guy shoot these threes. He's inspiring. And then once he started dominating the NBA and taking MVPs away from the favorite player, oh he's so he plays on one side of the ball. The hate comes.
By the way, look what happened with Tatum. Tatum was like, he got
I've
so much
never
hate. We had to
seen a
get his back
I've never
in this
seen a
pod so much.
star. I've never till this day. I've never seen a more likable star be hated when he's done nothing wrong. People didn't like him because he didn't have this personality. He just steals from everybody else. So the guy's not comfortable with media. What? So you guys are mad at him? Like he's such a good kid and he's a good dad and he's clean cut, doesn't get in trouble, performs, plays well,
Plays for one of
champion,
the most famous franchises. Like
plays for
that's
the friend. Like why do we hate it? Why are you guys hating him? Why do people hate Tatum? He has nothing. There's nothing there he's done. He's never even had a soundbite that's been offensive. People just don't like him because he says a soundbite that might sound like Kanye. What's the problem with him doing? What's guys? Again, that's what happens. Shai's like in this middle ground. He's in OKC, so he's like very famous and he's the face, but he's not the face. And he just gets to coast away, and his team's really good. And there's other stars that just beat everybody. Just people still like him. But yeah, he should be bigger. He could
By the
be
way,
bigger.
speaking of
I don't think he
Tatum,
wants to be.
the Celtics are 15-9 and third in the East. They are not going
Yeah.
to tank.
Well, Jalen Brown said, he said, y'all running us off. Keep that same energy now. Which you got to
How
give.
good has Jalen Brown been?
Yeah, you got to give him credit. We got to do a couple
He's going
snaps.
against every game.
Jalen Brown.
Jalen Brown is outplaying the other team's best. He is going toe to toe with everyone every game.
He's killing right now. His team is actually competing, and they're back in the race, third in the East. So yeah, we do got to keep that same energy because even I was like, man, the Celtics are cooked. I don't know if they seriously could contend, but listen, it's hard to argue with the team that's third in the East, and the way Jalen's playing right now, with the East being wide open, who fucking knows? You said it earlier. One team goes to have Cleveland has an injury. If the Knicks have an injury, it's over. You know what I mean? So it's like you just don't know. Yeah, you got to give him credit. Shout out to Jalen Brown, man. JB's been out here cooking, man.
And scrutiny in the beginning of the year with the hair stuff, and he blocked it all out, made him even better. He rose above it.
There's been some funny clips like the mascot moving away and some other guys and stuff like that. The Rudy Gobert grabbing him by the back of his head after the game and looking at him like, and he didn't say anything. He just gave that look like, it's time.
Rudy's was quick. Rudy was blonde like 2 years ago.
Yeah, Rudy had full head of hair like a year ago, and it's just like, you know what? I don't like how far back this thing's starting. I'm just gonna go ahead and just because he had still like enough hair to, even though it was far back, like he still had hair.
Well, okay, so is it being in Minnesota? You're in Minnesota right now, covering the games for Peacock. Are you? What's going on out there? Is it the cold? What do you got going? Look at us. I think you're staring at snow right now out the window.
I am. It's just mountains of snow out here. Yeah, I don't know. I think that this is a place you could definitely hide. You wear a beanie all the time. People don't even know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I can't. Coming back here, I realized how thankful I am. I live in Florida, man. People always have something to say about Florida, and then they live there and don't leave. Like, I can't. There's no energy. I'm looking at the winter right now, and it's just dead. It's just pure snow. Nobody's walking on the streets. Everyone's inside. It's just, I can't deal with that type of energy, man. Like, I just can't. I don't miss these. It's gray here damn near every day. Like, I can't. It's, man, the Midwest is something else.
And the tough part is, if you play for a city like that, when you leave is when the weather gets good. Like, I'm sure Minnesota's awesome in the summer. That's when the season's over.
Random question. Do you think players get their powers back when they go bald? Sometimes guys go bald. Like Derek White. Derek White was good with hair, but he's been better bald.
Yo, Michael, is this a Michael Jordan thing? Is that who you're going to end up with?
Kobe went bald. You know what I'm saying? Like
LeBron's still fighting the good fight, though.
He is, but he's more baldish now. Now it's like he went from having that, like, remember he used to have like the fake hair and the fake. He's done. Now it's like real hair. It's just very, very light to the point where it's like almost bald. It's smart because now when it goes bald, it's not going to be this giant shock because the hair he has now almost looks like it. So it's like he's made that transition. Our producer said Chauncey Billups. We're not. Gene, I need you to read.
Drafted. He had the part that like zigzag with the lightning bolt.
I need Gene to read. I need Gene to read the room. It's not a hot name right now. We can't. We gotta leave. We gotta leave Billups out of this.
It's a producer. I'm just giving us the advice.
Chauncey's name's too hot, Gene. We got
Gene, you know what? He's upset. He's a big Philly guy. Well, LeBron did to the Sixers last night. I think he's all discombobulated today. LeBron finished there. By the way, one game LeBron. Okay, we had to cover the streak. The streak's finally done, but what a poetic way to do it. He could have went for the game winner, got the assist instead.
Yeah,
Instead, the
yeah. The
streak's over.
Most LeBron way ever.
That's the best. That's the best way to do it. I looked at the
Yeah.
last time he had single digits in an NBA game. He did against the Milwaukee Bucks in 2007.
Jesus.
Michael Redd was the leading scorer of the Bucks. Eric Snow played 39 minutes for the Sixer for the Caps for the LeBron. Eric Snow. That's the last time he had single digits, bro. That's the second Eric Snow reference in this podcast. Ruben
But
Patterson came off the bench for the Bucks. I was
jeez,
like,
man.
this is
What? Well,
crazy.
for one, what a run by LeBron. And then even that moment where he could have been greedy and forced it, he's trying to win the game, which goes back into like how ludicrous it was for people to question his ability to change his game and fit in because Reeves and Luka are rolling. He's done just that. And even last night, they didn't. Reeves isn't having one of those big games. LeBron had something going. He closes the game. It just shows his ability, his greatness. Still, just continues. The story just continues to be written. Yeah, got to give him that respect. Lakers are rolling. That was a movie, as you saw Aiton talk about. He's like, man, I was just watching a movie, man. He's like, I just that stuff is happening. I'm just like, yeah, this guy's 40-something years old and just closing out games. I'm like, this shit's not even real. I mean, like the crowd, the way people react to him scoring now means more due to his age. Like when he does it, you're just more like even more than all. Like when he's 27 years old dominating, you're like, you're supposed to do that. You're LeBron James, the greatest player in the world. You get paid all this money, you get all this hype. I expect you to come here and dominate. People get used to brilliance. People get used to someone dominating to where you normalize it. There's like a normacy to being great. If Shai doesn't have 30, it's a bad game. No, it's not. 28's a good game. But you're used to having 30, so you've normalized it that that's the only thing that's good. So LeBron's greatness, he's built his own pressure for himself because of how good he is. Now that he's old, the expectations aren't as there as much because he's winding down here. When he does it, you're able to appreciate it more. Like, wow, you know what I mean? Like it took him to be 40-something years old for people to be like, that's impressive. When everything he's done his entire career has been impressive, but it's even more impressive now because he's like, bro, I'm 30-something years old. I'm calling games. This man is 40, and he's closing games still. It's just insane. Jalen Brown reached over 12,000 points. Was on a live stream the other day, and people were like, bro, 12,000. He's like, bro, I can't even sell it. I feel stupid celebrating it ever since LeBron has ruined it for everyone. He's 42,000. The is that? He's literally saying this on his stream. He's like, I had 12,000 points, and like it's a known thing in the NBA. If you're over 10,000, you're like an elite club. Anything 10,000 points or more in the NBA, you get to be a part of that group. It's like that was a bucket. I felt like my biggest gripe is I didn't play 4 or 5 more years. If I could have got like on a situation where I got to really get back and off the bench where I was scoring a lot, I think I could have got to 10. I was at 6,000 and something. I could have got to that 10,000 mark, but um, that's the standard. So Jalen Brown, obviously a star, just got to 12. This guy's at 42,000. LeBron James, man, like it's just or whatever it is. It's just unbelievable what he's doing, and that Sixers game was a lot of fun.
That's a perfect segue into I wanted to ask you. So James Harden is now top 10 in points. And that sounds like it makes sense, right? He's one of the best offensive players of our generation. Then you start looking at the names in the top 10. LeBron, Kareem, Karl Malone, Kobe, Michael Jordan, Dirk, Wilt Chamberlain, Kevin Durant, Shaq, and now James Harden. That's
Yeah.
insane. When you look at it like that, you realize how big of a deal that is. I bet you I'm sure he's had so many accolades and everything. I bet you this one even
Listen,
means a little more.
we've been for the longest time. We've been I think in my eyes, I think for the longest time, people have found ways to depict James a certain way. I think everyone sometimes focuses on the things that James doesn't do or hasn't done instead of the brilliance and things that he has done. All right, people talk about his playoff performances, the foul baiting. When are we going to get past some of these? You know what I'm saying? Like, not everything's about rings, and we've had that conversation many times before. It comes to the point where if we're going to highlight statistics, then let's highlight them all. Somebody being top 10 in scoring in the history of the invention of this game, and the list that he's on, Kareem and Michael and Kobe and bro, it's time to put like that type of respect on James Harden. I think James Harden's the third greatest shooting guard of all time.
Over
Fourth.
whoa, that's over Dwayne Wade.
No, I meant fourth. I'm sorry. I think James Harden is the
Quick
fourth
pause,
greatest
by
shooter.
the way. I was like, whoa, we're doing. You go, no, 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 no. Okay, relax, relax.
Well,
But he's right
I had
there,
a,
though.
and he's right there at three. The only reason he's not on Dwayne Wade is Dwayne Wade's ability to win championships, whether it was with LeBron or without LeBron. He won one, before LeBron. He won one with LeBron. That pushes him over the James because we're talking straight offense. James is a different level than Dwayne Wade, quite frankly.
Yeah.
James can do more offensively. James is more dominant on the offensive end than Dwayne Wade. But
Well,
Dwayne
Dwayne
Wade,
Wade was part of that last generation that could be a good shooting guard without being like
a great
a
shooter.
elite level 3-point shooter. Yeah.
Correct. And, what he did defensively, he was always one of the league leaders in blocks as a guard. He had all these little intangibles. And then, not to mention, just clutch performance, Gene. Dwayne Wade's one of the better clutch players we've seen in our game. In the playoffs, this guy just took over series. The finals run he had versus Dallas, he had this whole team on his back being down 2-0. Like, this dude just willed that team back. That's the type of stuff that you got to stamp him, especially when we're comparing him to James. Unfortunately, it's not like James was like right there. Like, James is the complete opposite in terms of like when you talk about the playoff and the clutch and willing a team to a championship, he don't have that. So that's why it's not really a debate. Because if you took all that out, which again is a lot, but if you took that out and just went for stats and performance, Dwayne Wade or James right there, dog. Regardless, James is the fourth greatest shooting guard in all of NBA history, in my opinion. And I think James Harden is on the Mount Rushmore for shooting guards. You chisel in Mike first, you chisel in Kobe second, you chisel in Dwayne Wade third. In my eyes, the second greatest shooting guard, the fourth greatest shooting guard in the history of the game is James Harden. And I
A guy
think
that
when
led
you're
the NBA in assists, by the way. That's how
a guy
like
who's led,
revolutionary he is at that position.
he's led anybody who's led the league. First off, he's an MVP. All right, so let's put that up there. He's won an MVP in an era with like prime LeBron and Steph Curry. Okay, he's led the league in scoring multiple times. And he's led the league in assists. There's nothing else. And by the way, he could have won 2 MVPs. That one of those Steph MVPs or Giannis MVPs. There was a couple. Either of those. One of those years
It was
was.
the Russell Westbrook triple double year. James Harden was right there.
James averaged 36 my last year playing, and the last guy to do that was Mike. So like
Yeah.
when you start putting the numbers out there of what James has put up in the league and still putting up, this not even his James. This guy James not even like in his prime anymore. He had 50 the other week, guys. So like you got to put respect on him. No, has he been the most clutch in the playoffs? No, has he won a championship? No, but like everything else is there. So maybe he doesn't get Dwayne Wade because of those things, but he's on his ass. He's right there. Pause. But he's close, and I have him. On the Rushmore. Yeah,
Since our last pod, Jalen Johnson had crazy back-to-back triple doubles. One of them he got
triple
at halftime.
doubles. Yeah, he had a halftime. Yeah,
Uh, it just feels like this guy. Did you know he was going to be this good? Like, how many times have we said this about a player where, like, oh, we thought he was good, like Kate Cunningham, we thought he was good, even though he was the number one pick, we didn't know he had this level.
well, I didn't
Jalen
know Jalen
Johnson, one
Johnson.
and done. Yeah, Duke had the year where he like had to quit on the team halfway through. He had a bad label on him, but super athletic and obviously talented. I didn't see this
Yeah.
though.
I didn't know he was this skilled. You know what I mean? To where he could like affect the game in multiple ways, where you're getting assists and doing stuff like that. The talent's been there though. We've always been like we've raved about. I mean, come on, he's a specimen. When he came to the league, everybody's like, "This dude's a freak athlete. I wonder what he could become." Now he's becoming it. Now, what people question was his ability to think the game and like make other people better. He's doing that already. So now people are like, well, it's even more all the reason people are looking at. And then you look at Nikhil having a career year. He's almost averaging 20 a game. Or he's averaging 20 a game. Like the Trae Young still having this much tradability. Like you could now it's making it more clear for the Hawks to be like, yo, let's move Trae. We can get a haul for him. Trae can go get a fresh start somewhere else. It's a win-win for both parties. It seems like it's about time right now. Even with Giannis, I've come to the conclusion I'm 100% you got to trade him. And I say this because Giannis has done everything he could possibly do for this franchise. He's won them a ring. Currently put, there's nothing that they can offer Giannis. There's nothing you can offer Giannis. They don't have any. You gave away a lot to get Drew. Remember that the trades and pick. You gave all that away for Drew. You won a championship because of it. Worth it. Okay, cool. Then the little you had left, you gave away for Dame. That didn't work. They don't have a lot to trade. They don't have money. They
I
don't
mean,
have
they just did the Miles Turner deal, obviously, strictly for Giannis because that's
for
a good
Giannis,
fit.
and obviously this team hasn't performed or is there yet. So it's just like Giannis, I think would be better off somewhere else getting a fresh start. He's done his time there, and then I think the Bucks might be in a better position where they could maybe restart. I don't know. It's tough, man.
Is it kind of like if a girlfriend's trying to leave you, but you're like, I'll take you to Aspen. Here's this trip. Here's Drew Holiday. Then things go bad again. You're like, here's Dame Lillard. No, we're good. And it's like, all right, Miles Turner. But eventually you got to deal with it, man. It's
Yeah, yeah. But what's what you do with the star like that? You try to hold on as long as possible.
you don't like that example, or you try to throw trips at her, gifts at a girl.
Hey, man, listen. I tell people all the time, don't trick on women because it only lasts so long. I've bought in girls everything that you can think of: cars, clothes, watches, apartments, rents, everything. I bought. At the end of the day, man, if they ain't with you for you, if they don't have a love and infinity for you, stuff that's on the surface, that's real, that stuff is all going to just be something that you paid for that's going to be underappreciated at some point. All the material things will end up being underappreciated because you're going to be there
I
like,
love relationship corner with Austin Rivers. By the way, we should do this every
bro,
now and then.
I've been through it. You're gonna buy her a purse that in 6 weeks from now, when you're arguing, that purse means nothing no more. Now you just spent 20,000 on a Birkin bag, and you're out. You and her are broken up, and for what? So it's just like the material things. People gotta be careful with the tricking. I know you listen to Drake and all these other like little goofballs like talk about how they treat women and what they buy them. Don't get caught up in that shit. And then he'll make a song, the next song, talking about how it's a waste of money and how he does it both. At least the thing with Drake, the reason I don't make fun of Drake is he owns it. At least he'll put it. He tells people he's a trick. He tells you ungrateful. You know what I mean? Like, at least he owns who he is. So I don't have a problem with Drizzy. It's these other dudes who are like, man, it's not yours. It's just your turn. All right, easy, relax. You got caught up because you thought you bought her thing. You thought you had it, that you can move any way you want. And then you break up and you're not with each other no more. And then now she's married or dating some guy named Jonathan who treats her nice. And then you're mad. That purse you bought her didn't work. They're not going to stay with you for that. And if that is the reason they're with you, then you're already lost. So it is what it is. Charges to the
Would you
game, my boy.
consider speaking to rookies, like at a seminar, and giving them advice on
No,
these kind of
thank
topics?
you. No, thank you. Not interested. I don't give a.
You want to help
I
out the more paid forward? Is that what it is?
my fiance gave me a 15-minute motivational speech the other day for nothing. She's over there like, bro, you'd be great. You need to go speak to these rookies. Da da da. I said, Adriana, it ain't happening. It's not happening. I'm gonna give you one reason why. For one, those seminars, I've been there, I've done it. They are counting every second for the guy at upstage to stop talking. It doesn't matter who it is. I felt bad for like some of the current or former players. I've been there 19 years old with a bunch of other 19-year-old dudes up there, and they got some former player there who I grew up watching, got a lot of respect for. He's talking the whole time, guys are on their, I'm not doing it. You're not about to have me up there talking to a bunch of kids that ain't gonna listen anyway. You don't think this same speech was told to Ant about women, or Ja Morant about guns, or drinking? What I'm saying, all these guys have heard it all. You are who you are.
But
All
there are
right.
also just as many success stories about successful mentorships.
Yes.
Where
So
it
if
does
I
work.
had time to mentor them, then that would be something else. Me having a 45-minute speech thinking I'm about to reach this guy, I'm not doing it. Now, if I got, no, for instance, when I got to play next to Ant, I got to help out with things. I got to see things. I got to, hey, don't do this, young bro. Hey, listen, man. Hey, if you're feeling frustrated, try to navigate it in this way. Don't, all these little, I can go on and on about what a vet means. We talk about it all the time. I'm the guy who holds the sign up for all these vets saying that they've been kicked out the league too early. I'm an advocate for vet
By the way,
mentorship.
the last pod, a big clip went viral. I saw a lot of comments. I think Gilbert Arenas, a bunch of people commented. It
Oh,
was about killing your ego.
yeah, killing your ego before it's too late. So I'm all
Yeah.
for vets and them hanging around and sticking, and mentorship and what it can mean for the youth and these young players. 100%. Me having 1 hour to reach them, thinking that when they've been stuck in Newark for 2 days because you're not allowed to leave the hotel and you're at the rookie seminar and they hate it, bro. They're not trying to listen. They're ready to get out of here. I'm not. I'm not doing that. No, thank you.
We, before we close, have to talk about Pat Spencer and what he did on the Warriors and his crazy story about basically being, I guess, the best lacrosse player in the country, to just playing basketball at Northwestern for 1 year, to being on, now he's closing games for the Warriors and winning games and on the road against the Cavs. Like, that not one of the craziest stories you've ever heard? Like the guy obviously is
Yeah,
just a good athlete.
yeah, he played like lacrosse or something, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta I gotta see more of him. I gotta see more of him. He talks a lot. Him and his brother, they yap. I gotta see if they can hoop. That he's shown flashes. Another good game the other day. So I got to see a little bit more, but it's fun to watch. I like guys who are competitive like him. I don't mind the yapping as long as you hoop with it. When you yap too much and you don't back it up is when I'm like, you sorry. But I'm starting to see him. He's performing when he's getting his opportunity. He's making the most of it. You got to put respect on that. So I like it. You got to just check in a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah, you actually on the last pod talked about how you wish you could get Zach Lavine in the right system, right role, right team where he's winning games. Last night he had 42 and said essentially something in the post game. If I got the ball, I could do this all the time. How do you feel about a comment like that from a vet? Like, do you agree with them? Maybe he's just frustrated. Clearly, just hasn't been able to be on a team, and like that leads to wins.
Story of a lot of players' careers. It's to the point where it's been so long for him, you start to label him, can he be a winning player? You know what I mean? It's like every team you've been on has been bad. But yeah, I would like to see Zach in a competitive environment. And then we're at excuse now there's no excuses for him because he's such a talented player. But yeah, I would like to see him play some ball. You know what I'm saying? Like that meaningful ball, not just get up 25 or have 45 on a night and then after be like, well, I got the damn ball. Remember, he's like, I got the damn ball for once,
Yeah, yeah,
which was a crazy quote. He got all type of stuff going on over there. And the sack is insane, man. These guys gave away Halliburton and they gave away Fox. They've given away just about every talented player they've had to end up now with like a collection of older players. And now the other one's like, give me the damn ball. And the other one's getting into it with fans. And DeMar DeRozan's shooting middies. Meanwhile, the team's getting run by Jeremy Lamb and his girl. I don't know what's going on over there. What is happening in Sacramento? Holy shit. Uh, yeah.
The one topic I wanted to talk about actually was kind of like Cooper Flag. You called it a few weeks ago that Cooper Flag's eventually the momentum's going to turn. He's not playing point guard anymore, and he's gonna. It looks you were like he's going to catch Colin Knueppel and end up being Rookie of the Year. This thing is already starting to happen. Like the other night, they
It's
beat the
already
Rockets.
happened. It's gone. It's
Yeah,
over. It's gone. It's over. It's a wrap.
yeah,
And
cheers.
Knupple's had a great year, but it's over. It's over. He's
Yeah.
starting to figure it out now. He's figuring out his pace. He's figuring out where his spots are. They're taking him off the ball a little bit more and telling him just go be aggressive and score when you get it. Don't overthink it. He's hooping now. Their team also is like it's in a trial and error year too, so it's like there's not enough pressure like there was in the beginning where like people are like, can this team still compete without Kai? They're not going to go, whatever. So now they're just getting to play. Now like he's just out there having, and you're seeing it. Like
And there's
it's
no
over.
more Fire and Nico chance.
No,
So
like all that shit is gone. So it's like
yeah,
now they're just out there hooping. You notice,
right.
listen, you got to give him credit. Not that Nico didn't get a chance to see his product actually work, which again I understand that, but um, you have to admit since he's been gone, there's just no drama. It's just you don't hear anything about it up there. They're just like they're like, yo, we're losing. Let's clear house.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with the Nemhart brothers? What the hell is this dude doing? Where did he come from?
He's
Well,
been good. Creighton and Gonzaga, right? Yeah.
I wasn't familiar. They got this little whippersnapper out there just cooking. I was like, who is this dude?
Listen, talented brothers right there. We've been
Yeah,
fans of
they
we've
they
been
just
fans
they
of
we
Andrew
found
Nembhard.
out, and they're skilled. They're all skilled. They're both highly skilled. Just bing, 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 bing. I mean, he did something the other day between like tween, then just broke somebody. I was like, ugh. He's got game.
Yeah.
He's on a 10-day, fam.
No, I thought he was there for the season. 10-day? That can't be right. We gotta look that up.
I thought he's on a 10-day. Well, obviously he's going to be signed for the right.
He'll be one of the best
Obviously,
10-day players of all time. The guy's unreal.
obviously he's going to be signed to the rest. I think I was one of the better 10-day players of all time. I had a 10-day once with Denver. It was my first 10-day. Look,
That
two-way
was a
contract.
10-day? Hold on. Your stint with the Nuggets started with a 10-day?
Started with a 10-day, bro.
And wait, they went
And
in there and just cooked, and then they were like, all
I
right, we're
went,
starting the playoffs.
bro, started like second game. And I'm out there like averaging 14, 15 on a 10-day, just giving blues. I have to be one of the better 10-day players in the history of the game.
I
I'm
didn't
willing
know
to,
that. It started
I'm
with a
willing,
10-day.
yeah, I mean, after that, I ended up playing there for a couple of years. But yeah,
Were you
um,
nervous when you went in? Like, did you think like, wow, if I don't play good 10 days and I'm out?
I was honestly so busy off being pissed of how New York ended and like how that situation. I was so ready to play. I played New York Game 6 at 26 off the bench. So like this is on a 10 day. Guys aren't doing that. Guys aren't having 26 off the bench. You know what I mean? Like on a 10 day, respectfully. I definitely think I'm one of the better ones ever. But Nemhard he's on a 2-way contract. It's even worse. I'd rather have the 10. I'd rather have the 10 day because if I'm hooping in 10 days, I can get a deal. But you
Did
go
Jeremy
crazy.
was Jeremy Lin a 10 day? He might have been
I think he was a 10 day. He might be the GOAT.
Jeremy Lin. Whatever he had going on was he's got a. I mean,
The
that's
only
the
reason
perk.
he would be the GOAT is because he went from nothing to something. At the time I was a 10 day, I'd already been in the NBA for 6, 7 years. I already had multiple seasons where I've averaged double digits and gotten paid and made millions. Like it was totally different for me getting a 10 day. Jeremy Lamb went from being like
Lin, yeah, Jeremy Lin.
yeah, I'm sorry. Jeremy Lin went from being a little couch potato to being a guy who's getting, big minutes in the league, closing games, hitting game winners. He's probably, Jay Lynn probably goated for 10 day for sure. And he has no name to back it up. There was an era dedicated to him called Linsanity. Not a lot of guys get that.
What do you mean they call it now? If anything happens, if some player's playing good out of nowhere, they're like Linsanity. It's like Jeremy
Yeah,
Lin's
no,
just
it's like.
not even
I wonder if he has
reaping the
Does he have that
benefits off that.
trademarked?
Yeah, I don't know. You gotta get that patent.
Oh man.
Let's get you ready for what is it? Timberwolves Suns tonight.
Yeah, we got a nail biter.
Little barn
Phoenix, a
burner.
little barn burner down here. You know what though? I don't mind calling Phoenix games. I get to watch Dylan. He's just must watch TV. He is just, especially in person, when you get to see all these little antics he has and all the shit he does to just get it. It's just he is something else, man. But Ant might not play. It's like 50-50. They're saying he's like under the weather right now, so they don't know. He went at shoot
So
around.
no Devin, no Ant. You are really gonna watch like DiVincenzo versus Brooks in like
Yeah,
a
it's gonna
real.
be nasty. It's gonna be nasty work out here tonight. Rudy Gobert might shoot like a turnaround. I don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah, man, got a game tonight, and then we'll be back home for the in person pod. Our studio, by the way, we're closing on a location, so very excited to get that bit out because when people are gonna start seeing our episodes, it's gonna be both of us in frame, new cameras, new mics. It's gonna be the whole 9 yards for people listening. This thing is only gonna level up, man. Closing in on getting that done. Um, I wanted to see before we go, I wanted to close on something. Um, I wanted to say this for people. Today I'm at Timberwolves shoot around and I see Bones-Hyland there, right? And for after shoot around, they'll play pickup, even on a game day. For the guys who don't play a lot, this is how they stay in shape. They keep their legs active, strong, ready, et cetera, et cetera. He's cutting up, man. Like he just out there playing. He's not even playing 100. He's playing like 80%, 70%. He's out there trying stuff and just smoking dudes. And I'm just like, man. And I'm sitting next to Tim Connolly. This is the president of basketball operations, president of Timberwolves, for people who don't know. And he's sitting there like, man, this guy can score the ball, can he? And then he like kind of walked away. And I'm thinking to myself, God, the league is so much life. It's so much about situation and making sure that if you're not in the right situation, you can prepare yourself mentally, physically, and portray yourself as someone likable to give yourself another chance to maybe get into the right situation. So many players come into our league and are very good and talented, like Bones. Bones has only ever played for really, really good teams. So he's never gotten a chance to like go somewhere and like be him and get the green light. Cause that's the type of guy like Bones is one of those guys like a Lou Will Jamal. You can't. It'd be like playing Jamal and then taking him out after a bad shot. Jamal would never achieved anything. You got to let Jamal go. You know what I'm saying? Bones-Hyland's one of those guys, but remember, he got drafted to like a championship caliber Nuggets team. He wasn't playing on that team. Then he gets traded to the damn Clippers when they bring in James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and this is that whole team. He won't play on that team either. Then he gets traded to the Timberwolves, the conference finals, the year right after. He's only ever been on these loaded ass teams with guys with big contracts, and he hasn't really gotten an opportunity. Again, he's had opportunities, but not like a full fair shake for a guy like him with his abilities in scoring. And I only say all this to say you have to continue to do the little stuff, the stuff that's not rewarding, showing up early, being a great teammate, clapping, being likable. Even if you feel it's corny and it doesn't translate to no money or you don't think it's cool and you don't want to because the team's not playing you and you got bad blood with the coach. All that shit's bullshit. If you ain't playing, you got to do all the right things, because all those things will do was make another team be like, you know what? I heard nothing but good things about him. He's talented. He hasn't got an opportunity, but I heard they love him over there. He's a great guy, works hard, da-da-da-da-da. All it does is extend that rope, that leash, for you to maybe get one more opportunity somewhere else. It didn't work out in Denver. It didn't work out in LA. It didn't work out in Minnesota. It might work out in option D. You know, Chauncey Billups bounced around before making it work. Kyle Lowry bounced around before making it work. Some guys, but you got to do the right things. So, like, I always try to tell players, guys who are super talented, like Bones-Hyland, there's not a thing on offense he can't do. It's about the right opportunity, the right coach, letting him go, letting him have that. It hasn't happened yet. It might not happen, but it could if you continue to do the right thing. So for guys out there in college, high school, continue to do the right things. Work your ass off. Don't talk. Don't talk. They don't need it. They're not playing you anyway, so if you start talking, now you're baggage. Just shut up and work hard. If you want to talk, then after practice, after game, call your mama, call your daddy, call your agent, call your best friend, vent, talk all the shit you want. When you step into that facility, when you step onto that bus, when you step onto that team plane, when you step onto campus, wherever you're at, college, high school, NBA, be quiet, be a good teammate, keep your head down, work your ass off. The only thing that's going to do is possibly give you one more opportunity to maybe get into that situation you felt like you should always had in the first place. And I say this again, I always like to reflect at some point in the pod and make it about ways that can help the youth, because I think about ways in my end of my career, things I could have done differently in Minnesota, things I could have done in New York. I was so caught up on my performance in the play on the court. It wasn't about that. It's about all these other little things. And it's not about you there. It's about the other 29 teams in the NBA. That's what matters. And guys got to do that. I'm looking at Bones just do all this stuff in practice. I'm like, this guy doesn't even play a lot. He's incredible. It's just, but like if he was on the Bucks and like he had Cole Anthony's spot, he might be averaging 16 off the bench. How do you get to Milwaukee should be the question for Bones. It's not about you asking for it. Your agent will do that. It's not about you complaining. Your family will do that for you. You just got to shut up and play. And I'm not saying Bones doesn't do this. Bones is like he's actually done a 180. He's like doing all the right things now. That's why Bones keeps getting these little spots. Now he's on. Just got to keep chipping at it, and then before you know it, you're somewhere. You're like, wow, this is great. But it only happens if you got character that people can believe in. Otherwise, you're not worth it to people. They'd rather take the guy they're not going to play anyways. He's just going to be nice at the end of the bench. Help yourself out. That's my rant.
That's a good way to close.
We're out of here. Good way to close. We're out of here. We'll be back later in the week as always. You guys be safe. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, The Off Guard Podcast. And we'll see you guys later in the week. Pausha, you got anything? We're out.
No, that was perfect.
Y'all be easy.